If you're older than her, there's a mistake most men make every day without even realizing it, and that little detail is slowly but surely diminishing her attraction to you. Today you'll discover exactly what it is, because women pick up on it almost immediately. You'll also understand how Stoicism, that ancient philosophy that guided some of history's most influential men, can transform you into the kind of man she simply can't stop wanting. So stick around until the end, because by the end of this video, I'm going to reveal the secret many women keep about older men, and why that secret can change absolutely everything. But before we continue, remember to like and subscribe to the channel, because you're about to learn something very few men ever grasp. When a man is older than the woman he's with, she instinctively expects him to be different. She expects him to be more stable, more composed, and to have greater self-control. And this is precisely where most men fail. Instead of reflecting that maturity, they try to prove they're still young. They constantly seek her attention, need her approval, send anxious messages, laugh hysterically at every joke she makes, and end up giving in on every decision just to please her. All of this sends a silent but incredibly powerful signal, the feeling that he needs her much more than she needs him. And the moment a woman senses that neediness, the attraction begins to fade, because a woman isn't looking for an older man to chase after her like a teenager. What she's really looking for is someone who has already moved beyond that stage, a focused, balanced man who doesn't depend on her validation to feel secure. This is where Stoicism becomes important. It was a philosophy practiced by emperors, generals, and great thinkers, men who understood that true power lies not in reacting to every emotion, but in learning to master it. A Stoic man doesn't explode in anger, doesn't beg for attention, and doesn't show anxiety when things don't go his way. Simply observe, take a deep breath, and respond calmly. And that calmness is incredibly attractive. We live in a world where most people overreact to any situation. That's why the man who remains calm ends up becoming the point of equilibrium in everything that happens around him. Women perceive that energy immediately. They feel they are in the presence of someone who isn't easily shaken, and although they rarely express it in words, it awakens an attraction that no compliment or gift can generate. Now let's return to the habit you should never have if you're older than her, because this point is truly important. Never constantly seek her approval during conversations. Don't ask her repeatedly if everything is okay, if she liked what you said, or if you did something wrong. Every time you seek that validation, you're giving away some of your power. Without saying it directly, you're communicating that her opinion matters more than your own. A Stoic man doesn't need that kind of external approval. He knows perfectly well who he is, and it is precisely this quiet security that many women seek, even without realizing it. Another very common mistake among older men is trying to compensate for the age difference by being overly accommodating. They constantly buy gifts, accept everything without question, avoid any disagreements, and do everything possible to maintain peace. However, far from projecting the image of a generous man, they end up seeming insecure, living in fear of losing her. And it is precisely this fear that usually leads to loss, because the energy of scarcity always pushes people away. In contrast, the energy of abundance, that of a man who knows his worth with or without her, is what truly creates a solid and lasting attraction. There is also the mistake of talking too much about oneself with the intention of impressing. Some men constantly recount their achievements, talk about their money, their experiences, and try to prove time and again why they deserve to be with her. But the reality is that true status never needs explanations. It's evident in the way he walks through life, in the serenity with which he speaks, in the firmness of his gaze, and in his ability to listen without feeling the need to fill every moment with silence. Because when silence comes from a self-assured man, it conveys far more power than 1,000 words. And now comes the secret that many women rarely express, something that very few men manage to understand. They